Terrell Owens, the former NFL star and possible Hall of Famer, is now starring in the Celebrity Apprentice with Donald Trump. He's hoping the experience will help him in the business world. T.O. discusses his current projects, football, and the controversies that rocked the NFL in 2014. I'm assuming you became a contestant because you wanted to focus on your post-career in business. Are you learning a lot about business?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that and a lot of endeavors that I'm trying to obviously involve myself in and with. In terms of me giving back, I know throughout the course of my career, I think looking back on it, I could have given back a little bit more of myself, and I'm trying to do a lot of those things now with some of the business ventures that I'm into. In terms of my T-shirt line, which is really motivating. It's called using the mantra "What to Do," using the T and the O of my initials. Really trying to convey to kids that you can make it given the opportunity. Coupled with your dreams. Really giving them the blueprint of what it takes to get to the next level.
There were teams that felt like you wouldn't be good for the locker room because you're outspoken and everything, but Pete Carroll did sign you to the Seahawks. You didn't end up playing for the Seahawks, but I think in that period, how do you feel about how you presented yourself in that setting?
With the Seahawks? Shocking to me that, I wasn't able to really remain on the roster and make the 53-man roster, but it's unfortunate. But his reasoning was, they wanted to go in a different direction, and I think that's with the youth and the younger guys. And when I went into his office and he explained, why he was cutting me, he really didn't have anything bad to say. He just said they wanted to go in a different direction, and so for myself, it was disappointing. I wish I could have stuck it out, at least, for another year or so, based on, why I got cut. I mean, obviously I played in one or two games. I was a little rusty, dropped a pass. I know we played Denver, I split the secondary. The ball came over top, I saw it, and, I dropped it. So, again, when Michael Jordan came back, from a 2 or 3 year layoff or what have you, he didn't come back to his rare form. So for myself, I think, had I had a couple more, practices, weeks of practice and games under my belt, because the speed was there, Other than that, like I said, I had a few drops here and there, and that's just a little rust to be shaken off. But other than that, I enjoyed the opportunity. I didn't make it, and, now I'm on to bigger and better things.
What did you think about Russell Wilson, and what was it? Did you see that he could be someone that would end up being a star?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Upon arriving there, and then once I arrived, they had told me, we're going to have a young guy that's going to be throwing to you. That's like he's pretty good, because at that time Matt Flynn had been signed on, I think, a year before that year, and so he was a starting quarterback. So they said, we have a young guy that's going to be pushing Matt Flynn, and who obviously thinks that he should be a starter, or could be a starter by the end of the year. So I was like, oh, okay. So we went through our workout. The guy was dialed in. He was on point. And now
you're critical of quarterbacks if you have to be.
I mean, I'm just going to give you the real, whether it's critical or not. I mean, if I'm saying something that sounds critical, for me, it's constructive criticism. I mean, it is what it is. But I saw what everybody is now seeing, and obviously the Seattle Seahawks, the personnel and the staff, they saw it as well.
One thing that you're doing is, I've seen you do in the press a lot, is to step out and talk about the financial aspect of the game for athletes based on your own personal experience. I read an article in Forbes that said that you were hurt by some bad investments and some bad advisors, and you've alleged in the past that your financial advisor actually misappropriated some funds, got you into some risky investments, and even a casino in Alabama. What happened with that, and do you think, what does that say about the experience that professional athletes face when they come into the game?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think it's you have to really assess, what it is that you're doing, what you're becoming, and for myself, we're all a business. Once we enter into that world of a different tax bracket, you're entering into the world of business, and I think for myself and many athletes alike that are coming into a lot of money. You hire a lot of people to handle those things because you don't grow up in a household where you may have a father and a mother with a business background, or anyone in your household to educate you on business. And sometimes you take courses in college, you just take them just to be taking them. You don't really take them seriously enough until, if it's situations like me, until something like that happens. And for me, I'm willing to step out because I've gone through some hardships. I've gone through some times where that I would never really want anybody to go through. And, to work hard as we do, and I'm speaking from my personal standpoint, I worked hard for the money that I earned. My family was my motivation. I didn't have, my mom that could buy me any and everything that I wanted. She worked 2 and 3 jobs. Just to make ends meet. She even had side jobs just to, make up for what she didn't have or what she couldn't make, with her regular job. So to factor all that in and to understand that, here we are as, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and we're hiring adults and professional people to obviously manage your financial portfolio, and it's taken advantage of. That's a hard pill to swallow when these people that you obviously hire, and at some point you trust them like family, and then they smile and they're involved with your own family like they're their own. And so I think for myself, it's hard to fathom, what someone else may be going through or will go through if they don't take the time out to manage, themselves, their financial portfolio, because everybody is going to be affected, from the top down. And for myself, it was personally, my kids, my family. I took pretty much care of everything, and I had. And that's not to be to say that I should have been taken care of, but I was in a position where I made enough money where it wouldn't have been a problem to take care of my family. We only in my immediate family, it was just my mom, my sister, my brother, and myself, and that was it. And then obviously, I have two nephews, so. For me, I want to try to at least, lend an ear or lend a voice, to someone that they have probably seen made touchdowns, cheered, idolized, been a fan of, or what have you, throughout their high school career. And now these kids are now on that big stage of making a lot of money. I want them to keep that money and be able to have something for the longevity of their lives, and really just be financially sound, when it's all said and done. Because sometimes, some people are not as fortunate as myself to have the longevity of 15 years. You think about kids, coming in the league, they may not last 3 to 4 years, and that's it. But I was able,
with the guaranteed money being so limited in NFL.
And I have an advantage, to try to rebuild and reinvent myself because of the longevity of my career and the brand that I've been able to establish, because I played so long and I was very successful in doing that by what I did on the football field. So it's hard, it's sad, to see what I've had to go through. It hasn't been, easy by any means, but, for myself, it's been hard at times, but, I smile through the pain, and I have an opportunity. I know there's more to me than just football, and football, was a privilege, to be playing in the National Football League, and I understand the business side of it. But again, there's a code of ethics, that all of us should abide by, and, I'm not the first, not going to be the last that has been taken advantage of.
Even with some friends, I read that there were some friends that actually took a credit card from you.
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. And as I grew up, and my grandmother, obviously, she's passed, and as I grew up, I used to hear her say, talking to her friends, she can count her friends on one hand, and when you can do that, you're probably in a good situation. And now I can really count my friends on one hand, where as before, I had a number of friends. So it's so unfortunate.
You mentioned your grandmother, and one of your autobiography, you wrote about your grandmother. I know that she was a big impact in your life. You weren't in trouble when you were in the NFL.
No.
You don't read about Terrell Owens being in controversies. Is part of the reason that you are self-disciplined as an athlete as well because of that upbringing?
Absolutely.
Because I know she was strict.
Absolutely, and it was definitely the way I was raised. And I pride myself, and I'm proud of myself for not being, being in the news for all the wrong reasons. Considering, I've been in the news for, things not even, that's less newsworthy, by like celebrating,
Right.
touchdowns, something that's fun, or having somebody say that I'm not a good teammate or I'm a cancer in the locker room. I feel like I fared out pretty well if those are the things that, you can label me, can characterize me by. But you think about the way I was raised, and another issue that I'm gonna probably touch on is how Adrian Peterson was trying to discipline, his kid, and obviously deemed child abuse. But I think as we grew up and kids in our era getting whipped with a switch, that's nothing.
Especially in Alabama. My
Right.
dad's from Alabama.
Right.
So I know about that.
And I'm not here to condone what he did, and I think obviously you have to use your discretion depending on that the child's age, as far as the level of discipline and how you discipline that kid. And so, again, there's a little give and take with the punishment.
Mm-hmm. And it's part of the reason why the NFL, especially now, is going so hard on that, and other things, is that the NFL shield needs to be the focus. And when you celebrate, or when you have a reality TV show, or when you get in trouble off the field, anything that distracts people from that shield.
Well, I think they're trying to play a little damage control because of so much other stuff that has been so polarizing and so damaging to that shield. Is that now they want to try to really crack down and really discipline, things to the nth degree now. Whereas before, if it wasn't such a big issue and such a world issue or a country issue about some of the things that are happening, within the league, then some of these things like child abuse wouldn't be looked at, it wouldn't be that bad. But now you have domestic violence, and there was a string of domestic violence cases, and then there started to be, little sprinkles of, players, involvement with that. And so the NFL has taken a black eye, in 2014.
When you were a player, one of the things that differentiated you from a lot of the players was that you were able to start to develop your brand outside, off the field, with your reality TV shows and everything. Do you think that hurt you at all in terms of with the NFL, because you were one of the first people to really do that?
Honestly, to be honest, I didn't realize what I was exactly I was doing. I think it was an opportunity to really shed light on what it is to get in a day in the life of a professional football or player or an athlete. And so that's really kind of where I was going with it. And I think a lot of people are interested in what guys are doing in their everyday or day-to-day lives. You can only imagine, had cameras followed around Michael Jordan, or a guy like, Magic Johnson, or Dennis Rodman during their heyday. If reality TV was
Actually, they started doing it after you did it, right? then the NFL really got involved with reality TV.
Yeah. So again, it was one of those things where, opportunities presented itself, and I tried to do whatever I could in being involved with that. And again, started to be somewhat business savvy with that too, because then I started to realize I'm just not just, an actor in this, but I started to understand my role and really designating me as a executive producer, where I have some type of creative control, and then I'm getting 2 checks instead of 1. So those are the types of things, as you learn about the business, you start to become a little bit more business.
I read you just made 40 grand over 40 grand on a hamburger commercial.
Right. So again, you have to understand, some of the things that I've done for myself and the brand that I built on the football field, is coming around full circle, and I can make fun of myself and make money off those situations.
Okay, so it looks like in 2016, you are eligible for the Hall of Fame if you don't end up on another NFL team roster. Okay, so what's interesting is that if you go, as soon as you're eligible, you could very likely be inducted with Brett Favre, right? If you go in 2017, you could very likely be going with Donovan McNabb, a guy that you once angered when you said it would be better if Favre were the quarterback over him instead of him. Who would you rather be inducted with?
To be honest,
and are you ready? Do you think?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I only think about it now the only time I do think about it is when it's brought up. And I've done a couple of interviews where I've been asked that, and I'm just very fortunate and to have played in the National Football League. For me, it was a privilege to do what I did. My numbers speak for itself. What I did on the football field was, really due largely to some people helping me along the way, but mostly just that drive in myself to be better than probably what I thought I could have been. Because playing in the National Football League was never really, it was never really a dream of mine. You hear these stories where kids, and people now, it's like, oh, I lived my dream, or this is everything that I ever dreamed of. I sit here and say that was never, I can never say that and it be authentic. I always wanted to play basketball. I feel like what you see now, I was an athlete that really tapped into the skills of a receiver. I really had no idea that I would go on to, from the high school level, go to the collegiate level and play at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, which is a small Division I AA school. I walked on the basketball team and played 3 years there. My senior year, when I really had the idea, possibly by a lot of scouts and my then coaches, to play on Sundays, I still didn't take it that serious. They wanted me to quit. They wanted me to not play my senior year of basketball, fearing that I would get hurt. That would hurt my chances of, making it in the National Football League. And I told them, I'm not going to not play college basketball, which was the love of my, my life at that time. Like, I'm not going to not play basketball just to concentrate on a football career, which I had no idea that would even happen. So they thought I was crazy, but I played the year out. I had the best time of my life in college playing basketball. So my story for a number of kids out there, is I made it off an opportunity, and I tapped into my own abilities. I did the necessary things to get to that next level, so I could benefit from it when those opportunities came. And when I say opportunity, that was being drafted to the 49ers in '96. And then, little did I know that once I got drafted, I didn't know that I really had to make the team. I thought I was good to go, but I had to go through training camp. I started seeing guys.
Jerry Rice and Steve Young.
I started seeing guys get cut that were drafted. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I hadn't made it. So I really had to buckle down, and so I did. Like I said, that's what I want to do now, is really inspire and motivate kids.
Okay.
Because I made it purely off an opportunity. God blessed me with the opportunity. But if you tack on the dreams of a kid, and you give that kid with a dream and an opportunity, the sky's the limit for him. So I want to be able to do that and, convey to kids and give them the blueprint of what it takes to get to the next level.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I have a couple questions.
Can't talk all day? I'm loving this.
From the people in my Facebook audience, they love to talk about the business of sports and entertainment and celebrities, and I have a few questions from some of them. The first one is from Damon Harper. I would like to know who he thinks is the best quarterback in the league, and if he was to play right now, which team would he like to play for and why? And what team is the best fit for T.O.?
The best quarterback in the league right now is Tom Brady. Tom Brady. I would definitely.
That's what Randy Moss just said too.
I mean, you look at his body of work. You look at, I mean, he's won 3 championships. Everybody makes that comparison: who's better, Peyton or Tom? You know, obviously the championships speak for itself. But if you look at the precision, the ball placement, the way he's able to manipulate defenses with his eyes, just with the scheme of their game plan, you know, he's done it. Here's a guy that was drafted in the 7th round. Nobody knew anything of him, but again, an opportunity presented itself, and now, you know, 7th rounder out of Michigan. Nobody knew anything about him, and now he's what, a three-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, I would love to have played with a guy like Tom.
Sounds like a 3rd rounder from Wisconsin, Russell Wilson.
Exactly. So again, I would have loved to really help bring along and really blossom what Russell Wilson is doing there in Seattle.
I would have loved to have seen you do that, actually. Okay, Jermaine Morris is also a friend of mine, and he says, he's a good dude. I would ask, quote, what single event or situation does he believe set people on the path to not liking him or rooting against him, unquote?
It may have been the Philly situation. Obviously, to go in that situation, being traded, well, almost traded to Baltimore, I nullified that trade, was with Philly for a year, and things probably kind of just spiraled, you know, downhill after that, because there was a situation in Philly where everybody thought I was the issue, I was the problem. And again, I did an interview where I agreed with the interviewers. He quoted Michael Irvin about Brett Favre, what you just mentioned, and I just said I would agree with that assessment. But what a lot of people don't realize and know if they read the transcript or see the entirety of the video is that I said I would agree with that assessment, that Brett Favre would be a better quarterback for us at that time. But I said, following that, Donovan McNabb was hurt for like 7 games. We were 4-3 at the time. And I basically said, had Donovan been healthy, we could have easily been 6-1. Okay. And that's what a lot of people don't know. But they went with the soundbite, they went with the headline.
Okay, well, now they know, because we're going to run your quote. Tara Miller, she actually asked about the Philadelphia situation too, so I'll just read the second part of her question. She says, does he think the team would have won a Super Bowl had he stayed? Oh yeah, we definitely could have rebounded and really put ourselves in a situation to be right back to Super Bowl 40. I mean, we were close in Super Bowl 39. And I think, honestly, considering you know the limited amount of touches, I had 9 balls thrown to me. I caught all 9. Maybe a play or 2 more, we would have definitely won that game. What can we expect from you in the next 2 to 3 years? Well, I mean, obviously, acting is definitely a passion of mine, something that I definitely feel like I can do. I think if you look at what The Rock is doing, really kind of, you know, being a trendsetter. You had like 4 or 5 appearances in movies. Yeah, I mean, I did an individual film called Dysfunctional Friends. I've been on a couple of sitcoms, Matthew Perry called Go On. There's another one called Necessary Roughness. I've done a few things here and there where I've played characters, I've played myself. So again, aside from acting, again, just doing some business ventures, you know, trying to get into home decor, fashion, you know, get my own t-shirt line, trying to do some motivational stuff, giving back, you know, to the kids. All right, Terrell Owens, thanks. We'll see you soon, buddy. Appreciate it.